seated, thank you. Thank you very much. Take their seats, I'd like to warmly welcome all of you here today. It's very special, the occasion where we bid farewell to the matric class of 2024. Vandaag verwelkom ek u hartlik by hierdie baie spesiale geleentheid waar ons vaarwel sê aan die matriekklas van 2024. Ndingathanda ukunamkela nonke ngezandla ezishushu kulo msitho ukuthi ndlelantle kwiklasi yethu yematriki ka-2024. Before we begin, I'd like to just highlight a few house rules, if you don't mind. Please don't take photographs and videos. The Click Club is in attendance and photographs will be made available to you all. The event is also being live streamed and it will be available to you on YouTube as a recording. Please ensure now that your phone is on silent or switched off completely so that it does not disrupt our proceedings. When we do sing songs, we will stand and sing those together. Other than that, the ceremony will unfold according to your program. Geniet hierdie baie spesiale dag saam met ons. Cela nonwabele lo msitho nathi. Our valedictory begins with the ringing of Founder's Bell. The bell will be rung 5 times, each toll symbolizing a year spent by the matrics at Westerford, a poignant reminder of their journey here, the challenges they faced, the lessons learned, the friendships forged, and their yearly growth, all of which have brought them to this point of us bidding them farewell today. Let's stand now and sing the national anthem together.
and good morning to the Matrics of 2024. Wonderful to be here today to celebrate and just reflect on your 5 years at Westerford. I don't, my glasses off, I couldn't see he was crying yet, but I'm sure the tears will start to flow in a little while, parents and pupils as well. It's lovely to have you here, parents, just to join with us today, and it's my pleasure to reflect and to give you a message, Matrix, but I'm wondering at this stage where your mind is at, if you're going to remember anything. I could probably read out of the telephone book and it would be the same effect, I don't know, but it's, I want to share some thoughts with you, and it's, I want to invoke a picture, if I may. If you've had a dinner party, you've enjoyed the evening, and we're at that moment of getting the coats on and saying goodbye, you're in the foyer leaving, and someone just grabs you by the arm and gives you the final words. It's those final moments that very often poignant things are said, key things are said, reflections on the evening, good wishes about going forth. Let me know when you're home type of thing, and it's wonderful spending the time with you. I think you've all been there, so I want to invoke that picture this morning of that's the moment that we're at. And so my thoughts come with that intention. I hope that you have felt cared for, nurtured, challenged, and at times corrected. Here you have navigated how to cope with a range of emotions. You have grown physically and emotionally, and you're familiar with the walls and grounds of the school, like your home. But it's time to go. We're in that foyer. It's time to go. You must go. You need to go. It is time. I know you feel it, and we feel it. 5 years is enough in high school, isn't it? You were the ultimate COVID babies at school. I mean, you were here right at the beginning when it started. Let's not remember those days. So the wobble was settled, and you settled it very well. And here you are. Take with you the life skills, and more importantly, the lessons you have consciously and unconsciously gained here. As young adults, you are well prepared, as could be, for what lies ahead. After all is said and done, well, let's put it this way, out of all the advice, from life orientation to class to teachers saying, let's put the work aside, here's what I think about life, I guess your bag is full of advice. As you go out the door, you've got lots of advice. But were you told to take sunscreen? I hope you were. Don't forget it. You live in South Africa. You don't know where the wind's going to take you. The OW family is spread around the world. My family from 1982 is well spread around the world. And so I had no idea when I sat in your position many years ago that I would end up here. Maybe one of you could end up here, who knows? I didn't think at the time that I would. But you have no idea where you're going to go. It's been a privilege to be part of your journey, watching you grow and develop as a grade. We have not invoked our school motto much this year. It sits above us. Sadly, we actually probably need to use it more, say it more. Nothing but your best. I truly hope that it is ingrained somewhere in your psyche. It will come out in time, in your work, in your play, in your family life, whatever it is, your relationships, nothing but your best. You've been here for some pretty tough times in our journey together, as well as joyous moments of celebration and jubilation, and for some very sad moments that have affected you in different ways for life. You bear all of this in you, and again I hope so that you'll be wiser and able to navigate life's twists and turns as you go out from here. My hope is that the greatest lesson you have learned while you've been here is how to care for yourself and for others. Can I say that when you return, and I hope that you do return, you're always welcome to return. Some of you will take longer to return, but I hope that is a place that you will come back to. That when you return, that what you will impress us with most is not your car that you drive, or the clothes that you wear, or the job title that you hold, but rather the humanity and empathy that you express and the passion for life that you hold, for making that positive change in our country, or the world at large. That will fill us as the remaining staff and pupils with hope that these 5 years were not for nothing. You have also been part of the birth and the new growth of the house system and the mentor system, and many of you have led by positive example and understood the key role that mentoring as the highest grade plays in our school to create a safe space for all. And my thanks to you for the role that you've played in that. To the 4 leaders who've met weekly with me and have led the school superbly, Libor and Tom, Lily and Inga, I appreciate your many sacrifices and heartfelt concern for all that happened under your watch as the top leaders. As I said before, and I'll say each year, this is the one part I think I'll repeat each year at Valediction, as you leave us as matrics, we promise to keep as best as we can Westerford a place that you can be proud of as you watch and follow us and hear of what is happening, so that you can be proud to say that you spent your formative years with us. And we in turn will proudly claim you as our own alumni as we watch you fly and change the world for the better. We expect nothing less. Thank you, parents, for entrusting us with your child for these past 5 years. We've appreciated and enjoyed your collective support throughout the 5 years. Many of you have shown support through the SGB, the PNG, just being on the side of the fields. As I walk down, just recognizing so many of you from your time in the pouring rain, the wind, the cold. You've turned out, you've driven, you've supported really incredibly well. And I know you've done it altruistically, you've done it sacrificially, but it's added to the life of the school. So to the parents, thank you very much. All the best with the upcoming exams, matrics. Your results from this past term and the mock exams are fantastic. You appear to take the mock exams in your stride, and we know that you'll be able to do it again to finish off the year in style. Look after yourselves until we meet again. To finish, I'm going to read a quote quite slowly because it caught me, and I think it's a nice twist of words. It's from T.S. Eliot, and he says, "What we call the beginning is often the end, and to make an end is to make a beginning. The end is where we start from." I wish you well, matrics.
A reading adapted from the words of the late Archbishop Desmond Tutu. Over the years, the late Archbishop Desmond Tutu has taught us numerous lessons on humility and humanity. Today, we would like to leave our matrics with some of his words of wisdom. On kindness, Archbishop Tutu said, "Cultivate your forgiveness with your friends, with your family, with strangers, and with yourself. Remind yourself that every person you encounter carries a sorrow and a struggle. Recognize that we all share a fundamental humanity. Do your little bit of good where you are. It's those little bits of good put together that will overwhelm the world." On forgiveness, he reminds us, forgiveness is nothing less than the way we heal the world. We heal the world by healing each and every one of our hearts. The process is simple, but it is not easy. On the topic of transforming ourselves, our attitudes, and our country, the Archbishop gave us the following advice. Transformation begins in you, wherever you are, whatever has happened, however you are suffering. Transformation is always possible. We do not heal in isolation. When we reach out and connect with one another, when we tell the story, name the hurt, grant forgiveness, and renew or release the relationship, our suffering begins to transform. Much depends on your attitude. If you are filled with negative judgment and anger, then you will feel separate from other people. You will feel lonely. But if you have an open heart and are filled with trust and friendship, even if you are physically alone, you'll never feel lonely. On our many differences and the things that separate us, he explained, differences are not intended to separate, to alienate. We are different precisely in order to realize our need of one another. We shall be free only together. We shall survive only together. We can be human only together.
Salute. A farewell poem in caps written by members of staff to the matrics. Ek salute jou. 12 jaar van haatlywe. Lywe wat jou tot hier gebring het. Toe jy jou voete oor die drempel van die hekke gesit het, met die naadkool op jou maag, onsekerheid, onbekende, vrees. Vir 5 jaar was jou saadjie in hierdie gronde beweeg. Hier staan jy, live and direct for your future plans. Jou fondasie gelaai met mag, met hoop, met die uitkyk na die next step. Vat saam jou die stok en die stap. Sit om die tafels sonder vrees. Wanneer 'n moeilike dag kom, daar wat jy ween, daar wat jy verdrink in die pyn. Onthou, hou net aan, altyd voorwaarts. Vandag saluut ons jou vir 12 jaar van haatlywe. Lywe wat jou gevorm het om nothing but your best te wees.
read to you a reflection on freedom from former President Nelson Mandela's long walk to freedom. It was during those long and lonely years that my hunger for the freedom of my own people became a hunger for the freedom of all people, white and black. I knew as well as I knew anything that the oppressor must be liberated as surely as the oppressed. A man who takes away another man's freedom is a prisoner of hatred. He is locked behind the bars of prejudice and narrow-mindedness. I am not truly free if I am taking away someone else's freedom, just as surely as I am not free when my freedom is taken from me. Some say that freedom has been achieved, but I know that is not the case. The truth is that we are not yet free. We have merely achieved the freedom to be free, the right not to be oppressed. For to be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others. I have walked that long road to freedom. I have tried not to falter. I have discovered the secret that after climbing a great hill, one only finds that there are many more hills to climb. I have taken a moment here to rest, to steal a view of the glorious vista that surrounds me. But I can only rest for a moment, for with freedom comes responsibilities, and I dare not linger, for my walk is not yet ended.
A call adapted from the preamble to the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. I read to you this call enshrined in the preamble to our Constitution. As you go out into our country in the years ahead, we call on you to assist to heal the divisions of the past and establish a society based on democratic values, social justice, and fundamental human rights. Lay the foundations for a democratic and open society in which government is based on the will of the people and every citizen is protected by law. Improve the quality of life of all citizens and free the potential of each person. Build a nation and democratic South Africa, able to take its rightful place as a sovereign state in the family of nations.
Time to recognize our outgoing leaders, and I want to thank, I'm going to read the names and the portfolios which they held. I referenced our head leaders earlier and our top leaders, but I want to thank all leaders in the matric group that so willingly, sacrificially, behind the scenes, gave up their time to make every area run well And I want to extend that thanks to all of you as a matric grade, because you led the school. As matrics, you lead. And so I want to thank all of you for your role in guiding us, leading us, being present, and it's by showing up at times that is leading. So thank you to all of you who led in various capacities. So I'm going to read out our recognized leadership structure. And at the end, we'll just applaud and thank you for your time and your full effort. So I'm going to read out the names in the order of the positions. Thomas Edwards, head leader. Libombo Lubambo, head leader. Lily Callahan, school governing body representative. Inganati Mgaba, school governing body representative. Temi Teo Olalei, academic portfolio. Christina Papaflakukulu, academic portfolio. Vera Farrell, holistic growth portfolio. Jenna Roman, holistic growth. Setha Hosselman, community. I'm going to leave the word portfolio out, that's fine, so let's repeat it. Isra Slandin, community. Kanel Kabila, creative lab. Ben Stephen, creative lab. Vitemba Arossi, culture. Michelle Namenta, culture. Jack Craddock, service. Angela Zini, service. Inga Mplangwa, spirit. Mvula Olifant, spirit. Sipe Mzoke, sport. Daisy Pollard, sport. Anna Cartwright, Buffalo House Captain. Isakanya Samani and Glorbu House Captain. Selma Thomas, Laypack House Captain. Jenna Ashworth, Silver House Captain. Alisa and Knatru, Chukulu House Captain. Then the individual mentor group leaders. Buffalo, Kirsty Everard, Zintle Ubula, Jordan Kellemer, Orwab Indi Nisa, Thomas Bierker, Ethan Volmans, and Global House, Saskia de Swart, Julia Fitzgerald, Keenan Harrington, Zethan Julies, Jamie Rutgers, Daniel Williams, Leifert House, Hannah Cleghorn, Lula Hutton, Eva Hendricks, Sarah Khan, Rania Mukri, Christina Papaflakukulu, Silver House, Jenna Ashworth, Sophie James, Madison Rossele, Catherine Stead, Liam van der Reefield, Maxine Wells, Chukulu House, Nikita Jabe, Scarlett Johnson, Leon Pataniti, Jason Templehoff, Julia Walsh, and James Wood. Can we join in applause just to thank them for their time? I think it's the address that we're waiting for. I'd like to invite the head leaders, the core leaders to come and address us, to address your outgoing class. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Westerfordians, parents, teachers, guests, and most importantly, the 2024 matrics. It is a great honor that I, along with the other head leaders and SGB reps, are giving the valedictory speech this year. Today marks the last day of high school. From tomorrow, we will never have another Afrikaans lesson. Never sit with our friends at break again. And never tremble in fear as you speak to Miss Majita Tuksha. I'll leave it up to you to decide if that makes today sad, or alternatively, the best day of your life. 5 years have passed since we first sat in this hall. Over a quarter of our lives have been spent repping Westerford's maroon. In that time, we have all changed and grown as people. Just look at your smart card. High school is a bit like death and taxes. You cannot avoid it. Considering this predicament, the only option left to us over the past 5 years was to make high school as good as we could. Looking back, I would argue that we, the 2020 grade 8s, have done a pretty good job. Our journey began in grade 8 when we tentatively stepped foot onto this foreign campus and slowly acclimatized to the high school. I like to think that there's only two types of people. Those who say they were scared going into high school, and those who are lying. Fortunately, in those days, Westerford had a pretty intensive orientation program. meaning, for the most part, things got a bit less scary and a bit more fun. Miss Gray's speed dating, the prefect's tradition to chase us on the field with flour and water, and the endless amount of Mr. Massane's jokes quickly eased us into Westerfordian culture, showing us just how unique Westerford really was. To bring you back to one specific memory, let me just say, Inga and pickup line. Would you like to come share it with the school?
Okay, I just want to start by saying I was young. I was very young. Okay, I'm a changed person now, very young. Okay, the joke is, where I come from, I'm known as the stud. S-T-U-D. So now when I go back home, I already have the STD, all I need is you.
Also, how could we forget having 2-hour breaks each week? Something that we were the last to experience.
Looking back, that first term of grade 8 can really be seen as the best of times. Awkward, funny-looking teenagers in long skirts and huge blazers, meeting and greeting, and scrambling to experience every ounce of Westford life possible. Attending almost every event, having to pack the chairs out perfectly in the very formation you see now. Learning and relearning Abukani and the school song. Yapping away in the rush to make new friends, and enjoying every iconic assembly announcement back in the day. The sport and culture launches were definitely a huge highlight. We fought for them, fought tirelessly. But that battle will have to be passed on to our successors. And of course, that first Valentine's Day assembly, which introduced us to yet another truly Westerfordian tradition. Miss Gray's ABBA obsession got us through the initial nerves, and Mr. Massane's Guardians of the Galaxy poster in his classroom, which convinced me he was Chris Pratt's stunt double.
Unfortunately, just as we were getting into the swing of things in grade 8, exactly 3 days, yes, 3 days before we went on grade 8 camp, the virus struck. Tragic times, I know. COVID seriously derailed our school career. We all know this. Mental health plummeted for some and soared for others. We missed out on a whole lot of connections with each other at a time we really needed it the most. Overall, COVID sucked, period. But looking at the tiny, tiny soldier on the bright side, at least we can say we had a very unique high school experience, despite the fact that there are some pretty substantial gaps in our high school experience. I would love to know what grade 9 is like, because I along with the rest of the grade, genuinely have no idea. But genuinely, grade 9 was a blur, especially grade 9 maths. I really do not know. This probably contributed to small niggles that plagued us as a grade. Notably, we all remember being told that we are not, quote-unquote, true Westerfordians. Well, we'll leave it to the teacher that asked us that question or told us for the end of the ceremony. Ma'am, you know who you are.
Although our grade 9 year was off the back of COVID, and a sense of normality was coming back, there's a few memorable moments. For one, the crate challenge. Also known as Woodlanders. It took the internet by storm and Westerford included. And what can I say about that? Many tried, many failed. But one man stayed and somehow completed that challenge. I was convinced that Mr. Smith was going to be hospitalized that day. The students who tried, they were ripe with youth, but they got outshined by a man who's in his middle ages. And who's literally shaking on the top of those crates, trying to save his life, and certified himself into Westerford legend.
top 2 teachers you had to be afraid of. Mr. Butler. I bet there's loads of people using their friend's Wi-Fi because they were too afraid of telling Mr. Butler that they forgot their password. But in truth, he's a teddy bear. But that's only if he likes you. The OG, Miss Snyders, who in her absence still remains alive.
Grade 10 is a pivotal year in any high school life. This is the year where we become seniors, and was a time for growth and maturity. Choosing our subjects was a daunting task, and many of us were a bit too optimistic. At the end of the day, physics is not for everyone. This was a year of discovery, with us finding new friends, creating new relationships, and exploring new hobbies, many of which were never meant to last. There is always something that happens in grade 10. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the air, a sense of growth because we chose our subjects, which some of us ultimately dropped, or new relationships that spark, and which clearly did not last. The grade 10s, where at least one person from that grade is always going to get into trouble, and that year was no different. In my eyes, you are not true as the 40s. You reek of entitlement. Those words stung more than the sight of seeing Mr. Smith stripped down into a tutu for slog 22. And let's be frank here, slog 22 was arguably the best slog ever. Us matrix are veterans of having slogged, get it, our way through 3 of these events. So you have to believe us when we say that slog 22 is the goat of slogs. The music, the vibes, the iconic mosh pits were unmatched. We got to bond as a school, grades, and classmates. Unfortunately, they wouldn't let us stay past our bedtime, kicking us out at 10 instead of staying up till midnight.
Grade 10 camp was certainly a memorable experience. It was a challenge to see just how dirty you could make your door, and how much tomfoolery someone could get up to. How could we forget when Mr. Butler and Mr. Thompson stormed into our doors and started chewing us out because some people thought it would be a smart idea to run outside in the rain and bang on the doors while everyone else was asleep. It also allowed us to separate the grade with one simple metric. Could you handle the high road? Grade 11 really was our year. We were old enough to run the school, but not quite too old, forcing us to stress about exams and other boring stuff. Many of us were fortunate enough to go on some of the multitude of tours throughout the year, such as the sports tour and the Orange River tour.
And the
These culminated in History Tour, where 60 odd of us were let loose on Southeast Asia. They were not ready. Cabaret is often the pinnacle of what a grade can create when working together. We thugged out grueling, multi-hour rehearsals, with the increasingly angsty teachers constantly reminding us about the time crunch. Mr. Fulmer. They almost seemed more stressed than us, as if they were the ones who were going to embarrass themselves in a onesie dance, or take to the stage alone to deliver some homemade poetry. Even with tests looming the day after each practice, we managed to create an absolutely brilliant cabaret. But unfortunately, the grade 11s simply, they couldn't match it. It's hard not to look back on those evenings and not miss them, even if it was late and we were often tired. It was during these nights that we discovered the true reason why Westerford is the school that never sleeps, a phrase that has sadly been phased out in recent years. Sitting here as matrics, we have finally conquered the school. We are no longer absolutely terrified of teachers, and more importantly, we can sit wherever we want at break, having unlocked the benches. We have overcome many of life's important obstacles, like finding a matric date, and made it through the terror of external moderation. With DAX privileges at the ready, the gallery reserved for us only, sometimes even with cushions if we were lucky. And the amusing experience of seeing how scared grade 8s are of us. We were able to make it through the pressure and exhaustion of mocks.
We entered as a small, shy, scared group of individuals. Then we became cheeky, mature, funny, and the most intelligent group of students that these teachers have ever seen. We are truly the last of the real ones. We saw teachers and fellow pupils come and go over the years, but maybe that was a sign that we too would be coming and going soon. And when I come to think of it, this exam season is like going to be like prison. No longer being a part of society, now being a number, being confined in our rooms for long hours, just studying, only seeing sunlight when we actually go to write these papers, and waiting for the results like an appeal to be free. Too many similarities for my liking. And one shout out to that grade 9 EMS class and that famous quote, try to fail.
Also had many events organized just for us as matrics. With, for example, the barn runs at the start of the year. We showcased cowboy hats, boots, plaid shirts, pigtails, and plenty of yeehaws. I hope I said that correctly. The matric gala, which is just 2 days ago, marked the last time any of us will wear face paint with our class's name scribbled on our faces and lips. The heated competition left our voices sore, and the yummy prize office kept everyone swimming at their best. We're Westerfordians after all. We'll never miss out on a yummy prize. But, Mr. Thompson, how can the winning class of the gala, cop my class 12B, where are you? Exactly. Win the exact same prize as the class that came last place, 12F. Exactly. Okay, how can I forget the bravest soul in the trip, Joel Abiodun. Joel Abiodun is our very own LeBron James, who jumped into a 2-meter deep pool with so much confidence, when I tell you, so much confidence that he forgot that he can't swim. That memory, genuinely, that memory will forever be etched into my brain. And of course, the matric dance, also known as the Met Gala. And yes, we did not arrive in a takeout delivery truck, but it was the night to remember. We saw stunning people at a glamorous venue. The Cape Sun will forever be in our hearts. It's safe to say that no crumbs were left behind. The burning calves of the girls wearing heels did not go unnoticed, and Jen still the troops. They were in. But once again, thank you to all those who made our magical nights possible.
While thinking about how to express the value of our 5 years of Westerford spent together, a moment during grade 10 came to mind. I happened to have a conversation with the most random person in the most random place. Despite us hardly ever having chatted before, he asked me whether I'd watched the movie Inside Out. He then proceeded to tell me how fond he was of a certain memory he had of our class of 8C. 8C? Yeah. Which up until that point I had completely forgotten. His conclusion was that this was one of his many core memories, just like those golden orbs holding core memories in Inside Out. And how right he was. Many of the core memories we have now were made here, or were made with the people we've met during our time at Westerford. We've grown up together, learned from each other. We're mosaics of the people we've been fortunate enough to meet in the past 5 years. While most of our core memory orbs from our time at Westerford may not glow forever, they are what we have now, and they are what we'll take into the big wide world. And for that, we thank you. We thank you, Westerfordians, for the memories.
When we first started writing our speech, I was nervous. I was struggling to find whole grade experiences that defined our time as Westerfordians. How would we write a speech for our grade if we couldn't come up with something that everyone could relate to? But it wasn't the whole grade's events that shaped our time here at Westerford, but rather our individual experiences. We all lived different stories, we were in different classes, we were involved in different activities, and we had different people who called our friends. Then it all came to me. As we were wondering what on earth to give as our parting life advice, I realized what we needed to say was right there. Our stories, our connections are made up of smaller moments, individual experiences, into laughs and jokes. Don't waste your time waiting for the big, grand moments. If you do that, you let life pass you by. The real beauty of Westerford is that we may not have many collectively defining moments as a grade, but we have become the people we are today because of our classmates around us. It is living by our own stories that we impact everybody else's, and the rest of our lives lie in the different. Our different individual involvements and the bits and pieces of memories that make up who we are. Learning to find joy in these moments is what's important. And as we embark into a world that's outside the Westerford bubble, we leave you with a few words from the famous Formula One star, Daniel Ricciardo, for all the Formula One fans out there. This is quite emotional. I hope I don't cry. Sorry. Enjoy the butterflies. Enjoy being naive. Enjoy the nerves, the pressure. Enjoy people not knowing your name. And enjoy the process of making a name for yourself. Enjoy meeting some great people along the way that you can laugh with and learn from and enjoy moments with. And embrace the good moments in life.
There's a famous Xhosa quote that says, now listen carefully. Which loosely translates to get something you never had, you have to do something that you never did. And if that's something, and if that means trying out new things, getting out of your comfort zone to achieve success or your dreams, do it. If it means giving more effort, just do it. That's what you must have. You control the narrative of your life. The outside world brings a lot of mystery, so try to control what you can. Not knowing where you're going might seem scary, but surely that's what life is about, isn't it? It's discovering the unknown, experience. We're all going to be discovering new parts of life and experiencing different things in our separate lives. And that will entail stories to tell future generations, memories created to reminisce over with some old friends, and lessons learned. We can never predict what will happen next, so enjoy the present. And make sure you give your all in whatever you do. All we have to do is work towards our goal and make sure we fulfill our dreams.
Matric is a big year, and we are big people now. Basically adults. Some of us can drive, but that doesn't necessarily mean all of us should. And some of us can finally be trusted by parents to lock up the house properly. Thanks, Mom. Can we just deep that for a moment? We literally could vote. Congrats on making it this far. It's been tough, but so are you. Shine bright like a diamond, or wherever the saying goes. We may seem old now, but we are really still just at the start of our lives. As Natasha Bedingfield said it, today is where your book begins. The rest is still unwritten. Don't waste any second. Get some sleep. Make a difference out there. Keep on trying nothing but your best. And like Jono and Lindor preach, always remember to
I also have a few words, and I like quotes I live by. You can get it. Thank you for listening to our speech, and obviously it's very hard for us to leave our school. Maybe it's easier for some, but we wouldn't be sitting and standing here if it wasn't for our parents and these lovely people on stage. We wouldn't genuinely. I wouldn't have written my mock exams if it wasn't for any of my teachers. So if you can give our parents and our teachers a massive round of applause.
Know that collective thank yous to many people who have been involved in the organisation of this valedictory service. Firstly, I'd like to start with Ms. Lang, overall coordinator of this event and last night's event. I'd like to thank Mr. Smith for his vision and leadership that has guided us this past year, and the matrics specifically over the last 5 years. Mrs. Penny, the music department, concert band, chamber choir, Sia Kanya choir, Tato Mokotso, and other pupils involved in the music. Mr. Claassen and the audio-visual team, as well as Mr. Butler and the film crew for their technical support in sound and live streaming. And I'd like to thank the Click Club for their photographs, Mrs. Majid and Ms. Hendricks and their helpers for preparing and serving the refreshments, which we will soon enjoy in the sports hall. Mr. McKenna and his team for the preparation of this hall, Mrs. Alcock and all the parents who have provided the lovely plants and flowers for the decorations. Mrs. Mather for arranging the seating, Mr. Thompson and Mr. Narron for guiding the matrics through the last few days of their school careers. And then to the many members of staff who have contributed in various ways to make this farewell a success. So let's give them all a round of applause.
children in the front garden. And